Oh, there's me. I feel like we're, let me raise my camera a little bit, everybody. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Can you all hear us? And go ahead and chat if you can hear us. Oh, yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Great. It says we're muted. Okay, maybe we're not muted. Okay.
All righty.
We're ready to go. Thank you, everybody, for your quick responses on that little very important question. Just so you all know, you are all muted. Okay, so we can't hear you and we cannot see you either, okay? So we're going to be going through some information today. Congratulations on making time today to join us for this webinar. You received an invitation to this webinar because of spring quarter grades or unit progress. You have entered into the academic probation process. Before we dive into the content for today, I want to go over some housekeeping items. So this is a Zoom webinar platform, and it has 3 features that I want to point out to you. One is the question and answer feature, and I see that we already have one of our first questions that's coming in, so good job. I want to let you know that you do have the option of submitting your questions anonymously. You'll want to use the options drop-down toolbar there to, I believe there's a button you click or something to submit it anonymously. Otherwise, when you ask your question, folks will see your name, okay? Please use the question and answer, the Q&A box, to ask questions. The chat has been disabled for you all to talk with each other, but the chat function allows you to talk with us directly. And again, we would appreciate you using the question and answer function just because it helps us on some post-webinar cleanup processes. You may be playing around with other functions in Zoom, and one of them is a raise your hand function. We will not be using that today, so if you raise your hand, we're not ignoring you. Please ask your question on the Q&A function. Today's content is going to be about 30 to 40 minutes in duration, depending on how things go. We will have time at the end of the presentation for questions, and you can certainly ask questions and answers during the presentation. Keep in mind that we may not get to your question right away because the content may be covered in future slides, but we will review some of the questions at the end of the webinar to make sure everybody has their questions answered. This webinar will be recorded and will also be available on the college website later. Okay, so who do we have with us today? I'm going to let Julie start.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Zeck, and I'm one of the academic advisors in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences Dean's Office. A little bit about me. My graphic is the one on the left-hand side. I am an alumni of UC Davis, and I'm also an alumni of this college. My undergraduate degree is in clinical nutrition. I'm originally from Irvine, California, Southern California. And enjoy the beach and hiking, and I also love sports, including volleyball, which I played in college. But I'm really excited to work with you all today.
Great, and my name is Lily Bynes. I'm represented by the little box on the right-hand side. I attended Chico State. I have to look at my notes to decide what was my introduction.
Let me introduce
you. I grew up in San Diego. That's me and my son out on the San Diego beaches. And at Chico, I studied a major similar to human development. It was titled Health Science. And in my free time, I spend a lot of time with my 2 little cats. They probably want more of my time, but my 2 little cats and also my 5-year-old son and partner. And then for a brief moment, I did live in the Oakland Bay Area as well. So shout outs to San Diego, Oakland, and all the way up to Chico. So at this point, I'm going to turn off our camera. And so nothing has gone wrong with your screen, just so that we can focus on today's content. And so I'm going to turn the camera off and introduce you to the folks that are handling the questions and answers today. Okay, so you should still be able to hear us, even though you don't see our faces anymore. did you want to introduce one of our
Sure. So
question and answer folks here?
we have a couple people joining us behind the scenes. So these three folks are going to be helping answer your questions in the Q&A function. So first off, in the top left-hand corner, we have Hong Dao. Hong is also an alumni of UC Davis from the Department of Nutrition. She is originally from Sacramento and enjoys eating ice cream, as you can see, and loves to travel.
And then over on the right is Honora Knopp. She attended Cal Poly Pomona and also University of Laverne, and originally from Vacaville, and she loves Taco Bell.
And then on the bottom, we have Alina Barra, who is another advisor in our office. Alina is originally from Romania. She's a huge Barcelona and soccer fan, so if you ever see her, talk with her about the World Cup. She's been watching intently. She went to Sacramento State, and she also has a serious obsession with pandas.
Okay, and so welcome to summer. We're already in what, week 3, I think, of summer school?
Yes, week 3 is almost over.
Middle of week 3. So as you know, our office sent notifications regarding your academic status at the end of June, and the messaging from our office has asked you to take some action for advising since you have entered the process of academic probation. Some of you may have had a conversation with the dean's office or your major advisor prior to the end of spring quarter to discuss your academic progress and plans for the summer. Some of you may have even started to use or explore campus resources to support your future success. For those of you that have already taken some action, great job. For those of you that haven't yet taken action, or maybe you don't know where to start, we hope attending today's webinar will help you with these discussions and initiate your exploration of campus resources so that you can take action to support your return to good academic standing. Some of you have already decided to make some changes to support your academic success. We hope that you will hear confirmation during this presentation today of the great things you are already doing and maybe get some ideas for additional tools for you. Lastly, we hope this presentation will prompt you to check in with the dean's office if you have not already done so. And even if you have already talked with your major advisor, it is important to also connect with our office. We would like to discuss your summer and fall plans so that you can be back in good academic standing as soon as possible. So here are our goals for today. In different parts of the presentation, we will have short polls. As moderators, we will see your responses, but your responses will be anonymous to the other participants when we share the poll results. Again, we want to remind you to ask questions using the Q&A function, and your question will, you can have the option of asking a question anonymously. And you can also use the chat function to chat directly with our question and answer friends, Alina, Hong, and Honora. And if we don't get to your question right away, we will get to it. It might just be information might be coming up later in the presentation, or we may be searching for an answer for you, okay?
Alrighty, so we want to check in on your basic knowledge about academic probation. Please respond quickly to the poll that will appear on your screen. During our presentation, we will have a few polls about various topics. Your response will not be attached to your name. Alrighty, so this is the first question. A student is on academic probation on the basis of GPA when the quarter and/or cumulative UC grade point average is A, below a 1.5 GPA, B, below a 2.0 but above a 1.5 GPA, or C, below a 2.0 GPA. Go ahead and answer. Looks like we have most of our responses. Last few people.
Okay. How's that look?
Okay, we'll end the polling.
Ready, set, that's it. Poll is
Okay,
closed.
so the answer is actually B. So below a 2.0, but above a 1.5 GPA.
Good job, everybody.
Excellent. Okay, so we want to talk with you a little bit about minimum progress, a requirement you may have heard about previously. There have been some recent changes to the minimum progress regulation. In a future slide, we'll talk more about details about the new minimum progress regulation. Please note that these changes do not affect your current standing, but may impact your unit plans for summer and for fall. We strongly encourage you to discuss your situation with the dean's office.
So there are multiple types of academic probation. There is probation for a single quarter when it's your first quarter in the probation process and you were just previously in good academic standing. There's probation continued when you have been on probation process for 2 consecutive quarters. And there is subject to dismissal when you have been in the probation process for 3 consecutive quarters. Please note that there are other reasons that could cause a student to be subject to disqualification. If your UC grade point average is below a 2.0, it is important to discuss with the dean's office to help you get back to good academic standing. You need to also be aware that only UC grades impact your UC GPA. If you are planning to repeat or are currently repeating any D or F grades, you should discuss with an advisor the impact of repeating a class on your UC GPA. It is typically best to repeat UC courses with UC courses. So if you received a D or F grade at a UC campus, we usually advise that you repeat that D or F grade at a UC campus. If you are attempting right now to repeat a class that you got a D or F grade in at UC Davis, and you're repeating that class at a community college, be sure to talk with an advisor as soon as possible on what your choices are and the impact of you completing a repeat at a community college. I'd like to invite you to also come in to see the dean's office for information on how your UC grade point average is calculated. Information can also be found on the UC grade point average, or how to calculate a grade point average, on OASIS, then click on the tab GPA Charts and Tools, and then select the option within that tab, the GPA calculator. There is a explanation at the bottom of that page that explains grade points and unit values. We had a student ask about closed captioning for today's webinar, and I just want you all to know that if you are having any audio challenges, or if you would like to have a closed caption version of this webinar, please send me an email. I'll put my email into the chat in just a moment, or one of our Q&A folks can put my email into the chat and ask me for the link to the closed caption webinar, and I'll be sure to send you the recording with the closed captioning. We've been trying to fuss around here looking for a way to turn on the closed captioning, and I'm not finding it right now for this live version, but I know that the recording will be closed captioned. So if you would like that, please send me an email, and I will put my email address into the webinar chat in just a moment. Sorry about that. There's always an opportunity to learn something new.
Yes.
And next time we will definitely have that. I'll work on having that available, and I'll check with Zoom on how to do that live. So let's talk a little bit about what is minimum progress. As Julie mentioned, there are some new changes to the minimum progress requirement. So what many of you learned at orientation about the 13-unit average has now been changed. So new is a degree progress average of 12 units per full-time quarter. Minimum progress will be checked at the end of each quarter instead of the end of the academic year. And just like before, workload units do count for minimum progress, and units completed in approved part-time quarters are not part of the minimum progress requirement. Please come and talk to us in the dean's office to find out what counts for minimum progress, strategies to meet the minimum progress requirement, and how using summer school or transferable coursework may be helpful in meeting the minimum progress requirement. Any units completed during quarters where a student is approved by the university registrar's office for part-time status or a waiver of minimum progress from the Student Disability Center are not included in the minimum progress calculation and are not considered one of those quarters in this equation. Each student's situation can be different, and remember, at this point in the summer, some people may not yet be aware of this updated minimum progress regulation that will be in effect at the end of fall 2018. So please see the dean's office to discuss your specific situation.
So there are plenty of reasons why students have academic challenges while they're here at UC Davis. We know that when you came to UC Davis, you came with expectations of doing very well. Sometimes unexpected challenges or situations that are outside of your control can occur. The transition to UC Davis can sometimes be harder than anticipated. UC Davis is a large university and the quarter system is very fast-paced. It is not uncommon to feel behind or unsure of where to go to for help. Anything from study habits, personal, family issues arise, your financial situation changes, or you become ill or injured can have an impact on your academic performance. Here are a few common reasons for students that have faced academic difficulty. So your course schedule, being away from home, family, you're working a lot of hours, some study habits need to be adjusted, time management, physical and emotional health, all can contribute. Perhaps by now you've begun to reflect on your academics and challenges this last academic year. Now is the time to adopt new habits to support a successful summer and fall quarter.
I just want to acknowledge that you all are doing an amazing job of asking good questions. And I'd like to remind you to ask your questions on the Q&A function, and you can ask them anonymously. So this will help us in making sure that we cover all questions by the end of the webinar, as well as to the benefit of the group. Anything that you all bring up that we didn't include in the presentation today might be something we can include in the future. So keep those questions coming.
Okay, so we are going to do another poll. And so we want to find out, what do you feel like is the main contributing factor that affected your grades? So the poll is going to come up and you're going to see a couple different options. We know that sometimes it's not just one contributing factor that affects your grades, but go ahead and choose the one that makes the most sense to you right now. We'll see what everybody has to say.
Okay, we've got more than half of your responses. We're going to let this go just a few more seconds. And this is really great. I'll give you a couple more. Oh, there you go. Yeah, everybody's getting those answers in so far. Time management is in the lead.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and end the polling here. I know not all of you had a chance to vote, but that's okay.
Alrighty, so it looks like more than half of you have stated that time management has been the biggest contributing factor of your grades. I would say this is very common. This is one factor that we hear very often in the dean's office. So it's not uncommon, but the great thing about time management are there are always ways to improve time management, and there's always strategies to work on. I'm also seeing some illness and health, so that could be, mental health and physical health, which we know that when students are dealing with some health challenges, it can be very, very hard to focus on academics. These are all really, really important things to bring up to your advisors when you're meeting with them so that we can start developing strategies and a plan so that we can get you back on track.
Oh, hold on just a second. I think there.
Okay. Alrighty. So you probably want to know, how do I return back to good academic standing? To return to good academic standing, you must complete the quarter with C average grades and have a 12-unit degree progress average for all your full-time quarters by the end of fall quarter. So please note that academic standing will not change over the summer session. It only changes during academic terms, so fall, winter, and spring. We know that you can get through this process of academic probation and return to good academic standing. There are a variety of campus resources to support and help you, including us at the Dean's Office. It's important to seek advising so that you know your options. We talked about the factors that may have impacted your classes. Consider any changes or things you may need to do to address and make a plan of action to help you reach your academic and personal goals. Remember, you are not alone. There are many resources and advising options to help. Be aware that while you are not in good academic standing, you are unable to change your major, and you also cannot change a letter graded class to the pass no pass option on Schedule Builder. If a class is only offered as pass no pass grading, you can take these classes, such as a PE class. Some seminars will also be only graded in the pass no pass option. These are also fine. If at any time during your academic term you start to struggle in your classes, or if life stuff happens and it starts to affect your academic progress, please seek advising from the Dean's Office to explore options. It's important to do this right when things start to feel a bit uncertain. Many students may experience academic probation at some point in their academic experience. We're here to support you through this process.
So before we transition into our next topic, if you have not yet participated using the chat or Q&A function, just because I'd like you all to be familiar with Zoom, try it out right now. Can you let us know what city or state or country you're in right now? And Julie and I can say hi to you. We won't use your name, but just let us know where you're at in the chat. In the chat. Davis, Modesto, lots of you in Davis, San Francisco, Davis, Los Angeles, New York, hello, New York, Riverside, Davis. Great, lots of you are in town, okay. Santa Rosa, Bay Area, great. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you all knew, you know it works for you and you got to try it out. Where is that?
Ukaipa.
Ukaipa.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to squint a little bit. Yeah. My font's too small. Well, just wanted to just make sure that it was working for you. And then just as a note, some folks had said that they were having some challenges with the pop-up polls. It's totally okay if you're not participating in the polls or you can't see them. We are providing you the results from the polls. It might be a pop-up blocker on your computer. I'm not 100% sure. So, but just wanted to let you know that there isn't anything that we're not reading that is on the poll itself, okay? All right, so we're gonna continue on with our content here. And somebody just asked, what are drop-in hours? I know one of our Q&A folks will answer that, and we also have that in the final slide as well, okay? So for the many of you that are here in Davis, you can take advantage of, and those of you close by, you know, maybe you might come to campus from Sacramento or the Bay Area for a variety of reasons. But these are some of the campus resources. A lot of students ask us during the summertime, like, oh, what are you gonna do for your summer break? What are we doing for our summer break, Julie?
We're working in the Dean's Office.
We're here all summer, so please come in and see us. And some of the campus resources may have some maybe adjusted hours because it's summer, but everybody is pretty much open during the summertime too. So some of the things that you can find on the Student Academic Success Center, their website is success.ucdavis.edu. There are study skills and tutoring available during the summertime, a little bit less than what you will find during the academic year, but this is a great time to look over their website, as well as success coaching, and that's available for students to meet one-on-one with a success coach, helping you define goals that you want to attain, and meeting with somebody to figure out how you're going to achieve those goals. And those things can widely vary from, academic, specifically around your academic success. There's also a variety of advising and retention services through the Student Academic Success Center umbrella, including the Transfer Center, the Veterans Success Center, the Transfer and Reentry Center, Veterans Success Center. They provide first-year Aggie Connections, the Educational Opportunity Program, the Guardian Scholars Program, and many more. So that's just a snippet of the things that they offer through the Student Academic Success Center. Student Health and Counseling Services, or the Student Health and Wellness Center that you're familiar with, offer these types of resources available through their office. We also have a counselor from Counseling Services that has an office here in the Dean's office, and her name is Annie Hahn. Counselors both at North Hall or the Wellness Center or here in the Dean's office, they're available for short-term one-on-one counseling, but the Counseling Services also offers group counseling as well as a lot of online resources. So for those of you that are not in the area, or even if you are, take a look at their website and the variety of things that they have to offer. I want to put a plug in here also for the Aggie Compass. It is a location in the Memorial Union that offers additional resources, including a desk there, a drop-in site for students that want to get signed up for CalFresh. I also noticed throughout the summer, they're providing some free food as well. So resources that are available during the academic year would also include the pantry and the Veggie Up program. So take a look at the Aggie Compass. They're right next to that little, is that the Corral? Is it still called the Corral? Where they have the popcorn.
Shop.
Anybody know what that one's called? But it's the little convenience store where the post office used to be. Now I'm dating myself. Anyways, so go over there and check out those resources. And the Student Disability Center has also set up a satellite site in that same area next to the ASUCD info and information desk on that wing of the Memorial Union. The Student Community Center, if you haven't been there, visit the Student Community Center. This is a list of the resources available in the center. Many of them provide, obviously a sense of community so that you can be around students that maybe identify the same as you in terms of cultural identity or individual identities, or, maybe even national, international identities. I want to note that the one with the asterisks have locations outside of the Student Community Center, Services for International Students and Scholars, and the Women's Research and Retention Center. So all of these places provide programming as well as just a center for students to be able to hang out. And I was just talking with a transfer student the other day about budgeting and stuff, and finding a viable semi-clean microwave on campus was something that they identified as being important for them to be a better student. So go visit these centers, even if it's just to find out, do you have a microwave? Where can I study? Those kinds of things. And then a variety of advising resources. Major department advising, we've already talked a little bit about them. Peer advisors. I want to point out also this online exploration tool called the Major Card Sort. You can go onto the UC Davis homepage and just type in Major Card Sort, and it is a question and answer process to sort through the over 100 majors at UC Davis. If you're not sure, maybe your major isn't a right fit for you, and you're not sure where to start, that's a good place to sort of go through a self-reflection process. And although a lot of these centers provide information for sort of the end goal, like internships and careers, like health professions advising or graduate school advising, they're also, even though they are the end goal, they're also informative on how to structure your undergraduate experience to reach that end goal. So utilize them as well for advising resources.
So what should I consider moving forward? Hindsight is 2020. Reflect back on this quarter and any challenges you faced. What could have helped you have a different academic situation? Examples could be use academic services, change of study space, participate in study groups, better balance of work and school, balanced course load, take less units, less social or extracurricular activities, etc. There are so many things here at EC Davis to help you. Even all these options can be overwhelming to sort through. Come in and chat with us to review the available resources as it pertains to your individual situation. Okay, so.
You have a sneeze coming? Just sneeze, let it out.
Not gonna sneeze. Okay, so we have a poll here. So we want you to think about at least one resource you can use to help yourself over the next quarter. As you make your decision, think about how you will ensure you will use this resource. Consider creating a manageable action plan to help you use the resource you selected and add any others that you feel like you would benefit from utilizing. So we're gonna have you go ahead and take a vote. There's definitely a few that you probably wanna use, but choose one that will help you prioritize what you would like to work on in either summer or starting in fall. So we have about half the people voting. Looks like so far study skills is the #1 answer.
Okay, we'll go ahead and end the voting. And then I know there's a few of you. So those of you that said that your pop-up wasn't working, you were not alone. There was a small amount of you, but we're still getting about 85% responding. Okay, so we can read the choices that we had. Oh, and they're on the screen. They're on the PowerPoint. Sorry.
Yes. So it looks like the #1 option that people really want to work on differently is the study skills. And the Student Academic Success Center has a lot of great resources for that. And we also encourage you to come into the Dean's office to talk about specifically what in your study skills you would like to improve. And so that we can help narrow down options for you and prioritize what to work on. And of course, there's always benefit to working on a couple different things, but sometimes it's helpful to just prioritize one thing and then from there see how you're able to improve. Great. Okay, so academic probation. This can be your wake-up call for change and improvement. This is your opportunity to reach your goals. Think about framing your situation positively. Don't stay in the past. What is done is done. We hope you now have a better understanding of how you came to be on academic probation, what challenges you face, and what you could have done differently. This is your opportunity to help yourself to return to good academic standing and be the successful student you know you are. You have a partnership in advising and community resources to support your success.
So you've had time to think about what happened in spring quarter and what challenges you may have faced. It's time to think about what you can do moving forward. Create an action plan and a community to partner to support you with this plan. Although it may be uncomfortable at first to discuss your personal and academic challenges, remember we are your partners and we are here to help you succeed. If you have been trying to resolve this on your own, now is the time to seek support. Allow us to connect you with resources and advising. We hear lots of things from students as to why they never came in for advising. Some students are worried about bothering advisors. Some students just want to do it on their own. And some students may have a sense of shame and feel like they are letting themselves or their family down by asking for help. Speaking personally, I am a first-generation to college graduate and know how difficult it can be to navigate the university. I also know how difficult it can be to ask for support, sometimes given familial and cultural expectations. However, for all of us, whether we're first-generation to college or not, please know that when you are asking for advice, it is not an inconvenience to us. This is what we are here for. Pride, ego, shame, fear, or even a strong sense of obligation to being independent may hold you back from achieving success and your goals if you don't use your resources to support your success. So while you're thinking about your action plan, be sure to write it down. Students don't set out planning to end up in academic difficulty. We know that despite this stumble, you do belong here and you can succeed. You earned your admission to UC Davis, and we want to help support you be successful in your goals. So remember, we're here to support you. I encourage you to start to get to know the people, staff, faculty, and peer advisors that work in the campus resources we mentioned. You may find an unlikely hero or shero that will be able to help you explore balance and develop tools for academic success. Positioning yourself for your future success is a partnership by actively and honestly reflecting and evaluating your own experiences, and then sharing and collaborating with your major, the dean's office, and campus resources.
Alrighty, so we're going to take our last poll here, and so we're asking the same question that we asked in the first poll that we did. And so we're going to ask again, what is qualitative academic probation? So you're going to see the options show up on the poll. And so what is qualitative probation when a UC and or cumulative GPA is A, below 1.5, B, below a 2.0 but above a 1.5, or C, below a 2.0 GPA? So we've had almost about 75% of the people voting. And it looks like
Almost everybody, that's probably 87%.
okay.
All right, we're gonna close it.
So overwhelmingly correct from the group. So the answer is, again, quarter or cumulative UC GPA is below a 2.0 but above a 1.5. So good job. Just to note again about minimum progress, please come into the dean's office if you have questions about minimum progress. This is a new regulation, there's new rules, and so it can be a little bit confusing during this transition time. It's best if we talk to students about their individual situations for minimum progress.
So UC Davis has 2 summer sessions that are 6 weeks each. If you didn't know that already, now you know. At most, students most students will take at most 2 classes per session. Discuss with your major what is best for a good balance and performance in your classes. Summer session 1, as we said, we're already pretty much halfway through it. And due to the brevity of each term, we caution you from adjusting your classes or adding classes once summer has begun for the summer session 1. Please talk with an advisor as soon as possible if you have questions about enrollment. You can still enroll here at UC Davis for summer session 2. If you are not attending UC Davis, talk with your major and the dean's office about finding appropriate classes for your degree requirements and how to transfer credit to UC Davis. During an appointment, we can also maybe explore other options. There are a lot of online options both at the community college and at the UC for the summertime. But that's a lot to get into on a webinar. So come in and see us.
And we just got a question in the chat, says, what if my summer session 2 class I need is currently full? And so I just wanted to answer for the whole group. You can waitlist for summer session 2 at this time. So go ahead and get yourself on the wait list, and just like any other quarter, be sure that you're attending the class during the first week. Okay, we have got to the end of our presentation. So thank you so much for all the questions. We've had a ton of questions in the Q&A. We encourage you to come visit us in the dean's office. Like Lily mentioned, we are here all summer. The office will not close for summer. And we're located in Rack Hall, room 150, so that's the first floor. We do have a general email, which is caesadvising@ucdavis.edu. That is a great general inbox if you have a quick question for us. We also may ask you to come in for a longer appointment if it's a little bit more of a complicated question. And then you see our phone number and our website. We encourage all of our students to like us on Facebook. Our page is called CAES Advising at UC Davis. We post a lot of our events and dates and deadlines and a lot of really important information on our Facebook page. So our July drop-in hours in the dean's office will be 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. So come on by. We're going to have those drop-in hours till the end of July. And then once August starts and then through the whole academic year, our normal drop-in hours are 9 to noon and 1:30 to 4 p.m. I will note that there are no drop-in hours on Wednesday mornings, but we do have drop-in hours on Wednesday afternoons. And our drop-ins are first come, first serve. So when you are able to come by, we will put you in an appointment slot to talk to an advisor. All righty, well, we're gonna see if there's any.
Yeah, drop-in hours are until 3 o'clock for the month of July, and they're normally until 4 o'clock. So, but for the month of July, just because of other things going on, orientation and things, we have some sort of abridged hours. But during the regular academic year, and I should say just not July, they are until 4 o'clock. And then we had another question: if I am on academic probation, can I still double major? Do you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, so if you're on academic probation, you may still double major. You cannot declare a double major while you are on academic probation. Our advice is that, one, you're meeting with our office to talk about your goals of being a double major and what ways that we can help you achieve those goals. And then two, meeting with both of those major advisors so that you are able to get a plan together, get yourself in a manageable schedule to get you back on track as soon as possible.
And the second part to that question is, if I want to meet with an advisor with my degree, how do I schedule an appointment? So all of the, most of the major advisors, I'm sure some folks take a vacation or a day off here and there, but you can see anybody on campus during the summertime. If you're not in the area, you can call or email them and ask them if they can do a phone appointment. Or in our office, we also offer students the option of a Zoom appointment, which is, for me, my personal preference, but some advisors or students might prefer Skype. So just ask and see what options are available if you're not in the area. And you can also meet with advisors that are for your intended major. So if you're not declared in that major, especially because this student also asked about a double major, you can meet with an advisor that is for an intended major as well. Video? No. We're going to put our faces back on. Hello.
Hello, we're still here. So we've seen a lot of financial aid questions come up in the Q&A and in the chat. Just to note about financial aid, our office does not advise on financial aid because all financial aid situations can be so specific and individualized. So we really encourage you to contact their office. They are also open all summer, so you can get in contact with them now if you have questions about fall quarter, or especially if you have questions about your summer session financial aid, which can be a little bit different than during the academic year.
And this one says, does that include majoring with a minor? And it's anonymous. So I don't know where that one came up. It might have been when we were talking about double majoring. The person that asked that question, can you ask that question with a little bit more information about, does that include majoring with a minor? Let us know. We'll wait to see what your questions are. I put into the chat the financial aid office contact information as well. Oh, can you declare a minor while on academic probation?
So So similar to a double major.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Similar to a double major, you can, well, that's a good question.
Well, it's not, there's some minor department office, or some departments allow students to declare their minor via OASIS. You have to have a 2.0 in your minor in order to graduate with that minor and have it approved. So you may want to talk with that particular minor's office to find out if they will allow you to submit that declaration of the minor form while you are on probation. It's kind of an unofficial declaration because it's not done yet.
Right. Minors are not certified until you actually graduate. So technically it doesn't prevent you from declaring a minor, but again, we'd want you to talk more specifically with that minor advisor.
How many opportunities does a student have to retake courses and regrade it? So that's a great question. You can also look on the registrar's office website in the catalog and with more information. And Hong just replied that students can retake and replace up to 16 units of repeat credit. And after using that repeat and replace maximum of 16 units, you still can repeat more classes, but then it does have some impacts on your grade point average and your minimum progress. So please come and talk with us in the dean's office. And I think it's a good thing to come and talk with us about, even the first time you're repeating something, let's talk about how you can make that second attempt go better, because it's really important for you to, like we started off today, hearing confirmation that you're on the right track is good, or hearing additional resources for yourself is really good too.
Yeah, and just a note about repeats, they can be very tricky, especially if a student is trying to repeat the class at a different institution, such as a community college or another UC. If you're thinking about doing that, please don't take any action, don't register for those classes until you come talk with us, because there's a lot of specific information about repeats. And if you're having to repeat a class, it's always good to come check in with us anyways so that we can talk with you more.
I appreciate this conversation about the minor that's happening, and it's a really good learning opportunity. So the person that asked about the minor earlier said, so all these classmates talking about having a minor don't actually have it until they graduate? I am mind blown. So I appreciate your honesty in that and sharing your feelings about that, and just want to mention that, students are going to say what they're going to say, and sometimes students aren't always coming with the technical aspects of advising. So when it's just students talking to students, come in and ask the question. This is definitely sort of like a conversational piece, but there's things that can really impact your academics here that it's important for you to just double check on that information. There's no harm in checking on those things. So
yeah, one of the hardest things for an advisor to hear is, well, my friend told me this. And we all have really smart friends, but there's a lot of very complicated regulations on this campus, and that's why we have our jobs, is to help disseminate that information. And so please don't hesitate to come by, even if you think it's a quick question. You can call us on the phone. When you call our office, you get to talk to an advisor. And so we really just want to make sure that you all feel comfortable talking to our office about any question that you may have.
So someone asked, would you recommend repeating a course with the same professor that you got a bad grade in? What would you think? I think we might have different ideas here. Different and same.
Well, I think it depends on a lot of things. Why did it not go so well the first time? Did it have to do with the professor, or were there things that you as the student were contributing? And, are there things that you're able to take responsibility for and then make adjustments based on that? Or was there stuff going on in your life that were impacting? So I don't think grades are always necessarily having to do with which professor you're taking.
And one of the things I realized we didn't talk a whole lot about during today's webinar, it's come up in other ones, but How are you engaging with your professors? Because sometimes, like Julie mentioned, what accountability or contribution do you have to the class? Part of that contribution is you engaging with the professors and the TAs and learning a little bit more about their teaching style or testing style, and also what support they have to offer to you, because sometimes students are surprised once they do talk with their professors to find out the amount of support that they actually can get from their professor when they're struggling in a class. So yeah, and I agree with everything that Julie said too. So come in and chat with us about it. I mean, we're not just catalog decoders. Sometimes it's just getting this kind of advice and us helping you process that, asking you, well, what else was happening? What did you talk to the professor about? So we're going to end on that question. I think that was a great question to just, highlight our great faculty here in the College of Ag at UC Davis. And thank you all for participating so actively in this webinar. This has been by far the best.
Our most active.
The best group. Thanks again to Hong, Dao, Hanor Nop, and Alina Barra for their speedy fingers on the question and answers. And as a reminder, check the chat, but I put my email in there. It's also in the webinar email confirmations you received. Please email me if you would like to get the closed captioned version of today's webinar recording, okay? All right. Well, anything from our panelists before we go? And you're all very welcome. Thank you for attending. I'm glad you all made it here today. So, somebody just sent in a question. I'm gonna ask that the person that just sent in that question about ARE 106, give our office a call, okay? Our phones will be open like right now.
Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good summer.